Number 30, if I'm not mistaken, the Venus Project wants to sort of unite our human culture with technology to be in harmony with nature and with high technology at the same time. What is the Venus Project's approach to the different kind of pests, such as rats or snakes or spiders, and natural disasters, such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and storms, that might put people in risk, and its approach without interfering or hurting the environment? Let me understand you correctly. What you're saying is, how do we deal with problems that, well, okay, the only problem that really exists, the only problems that really exist are problems that are common to the whole of humanity. The whole of humanity has to be utterly symbiotically recognized, has to be symbiotically referenced in regard to the environment. That statement made no sense, but we'll roll with it. In other words, we have to understand how we're interconnected. It's not just species elitism, but there is, of course, the human species as the forefront in everything in our environment to support the species. I can't really think of any other way it can work like that. It's not that, I mean, we need all of the other animals and vegetation and everything else on this planet. There's an enjoyment to the aspects as well. So as far as pests and stuff, I'm not quite sure what you mean. It goes back to the whole idea of sanctity of life. You know, what is sacred in life. Life is just about everything, and it's really just a matter of social degree as far as what people consider to be sacred. I know tons of people that, I was walking down the street the other day, and there was a seagull that had a broken wing, and all these people were crowding around trying to help the seagull, trying to figure out what to do with it, and right next to them was a dead pigeon. And I was sitting there wondering, would these people be just as interested in the seagull as they would be if the pigeon was still alive? Would they be running around trying to save the pigeon? And, it's just something to think about as far as the relativity of how we consider what's valuable in life. I hope I'm understanding your question correctly. As far as natural disasters are one of the biggest threats. We'd have an entire campaign, entire project to figure out how to alleviate the pressure in the Earth's crust so that earthquakes don't exist, to figure out how to stop hurricanes from hurricanes and typhoons and the like to culminate. You'd be surprised at certain ideas of weather controlling and ways that could happen, at least specifically in certain regions. So that would definitely be an approach. As far as hurting the environment, all the retroactive elements are taken into account immediately. That's a huge part of this. We don't do anything without understanding what it's doing to the environment. So if a specific technology is creating pollution, for example, which is the very common thing we see today, it wouldn't be done unless there was absolutely no other option. And even if there was no other option, every effort would be made to make sure that pollution is minimized as much as possible. So anyway, the negative retroactions are always taken into account.